They are created with premium alcohol and cannabis, so you don't have that groggy, hungover feeling the next day. You know what I'm talking about. They come in an array of exotic flavors. 6 with premium alcohol and 6 alcohol-free. Among my favorites are the mango peach and one that was created with me in mind, Tranquility. That is at LFTD Infused Teas on Facebook and Instagram. I've got my Tranquilities. Have you got yours?
This is Cindy Warren, founder of Blue Tree Coaching, which can be found at www.bluetree-coaching.com. I offer life coaching for people looking to grow in any area of their lives. My techniques combine neuroscience, mindfulness, and proven coaching techniques to help you manage your mind so that you can create a life that is aligned with your highest values. To learn more, go to www.bluetreecoaching.com, where you can reach out to me to schedule a complimentary clarity call. Together we can see if life coaching is right for you.
And welcome back. So first up in our lineup, well, first thing we're going to do is let's take a deep breath. Let's do this all together. We're just going to breathe. Inhaling and releasing. Inhaling again and releasing. Feels good to breathe. One more time and releasing. Closing off our right nostril, breathing through the left. We're going to do 10 quick breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and for 11, let's breathe just inhalation. Good, tripping that into that parasympathetic mode. We're all under some sort of stress these days, and it feels good to feel good. So, our first guest, who I've been trying to bring on to you for a while now, you just weren't aware of it, is Dr. Mitchell Tepper, and he owns the Sexual Health Network, and he does dating and relationships for the disabled. And having a chat with him, I realized just how wonderful and interesting his work was, and so I wanted you to meet him. So I'm going to bring him on for you now. Hi, Mitchell.
Hi.
Dr. Mitchell Tepper, how you doing?
Great. How are you doing today?
Wonderful. So tell us something about your work that really excites you.
Well,
and tell us a bit about your work, a bit more.
I've been dedicated to really helping people with disabilities and chronic conditions optimize their sexual pleasure, for the last 25, 30 years. My work stems from my personal experience as someone who acquired a spinal cord injury at age 20 and was left with a lot of questions about my sexual functioning and response and whether I'd ever be able to find a partner at that time. And my answers weren't being, I wasn't getting answers from health professionals. And basically I took things into my own hands and moved from a career in originally a student pursuing a career in finance to working in banking and then in public health, and eventually making my way to actually getting a PhD in human sexuality education. So I consider myself a sexologist. I've been working on helping or trying to advocate for rehabilitation professionals to include comprehensive sexual health care with patients and all kinds of doctors that deal with anyone with any disability or chronic condition, to begin to talk to people about what the effect of that condition or the medications or the side effects are on their sexuality. So I think one of the things I'm happy about that I've been focusing on helping people, regain that feeling, to optimize their pleasure. Yeah. As I said, since the beginning, I've avoided although my PhD is in human sexuality education, I have avoided as much as I can focusing on STDs, unwanted pregnancies, and trauma. As much as I can, I've tried to focus on, the positive aspects of sexuality and the pleasurable aspects. Not that you can't avoid all the other things. When I'm treating somebody, I have to deal with trauma. I have to deal with STDs. I have to deal with unwanted events. But my focus has always been on pleasure, and that I think the world of sex therapy has caught up, right? I had started this focus on pleasure, and just last year, the World Health Organization put out a declaration on pleasure and the importance of pleasure. So I think that the work amongst people with disabilities with a focus on pleasure has now informed the greater dialogue around sexuality for everybody.
Wonderful. And how do you think that will expand over time?
Well, I think it has been expanding as far as looking at sex as a greater phenomenon than just intercourse.
Okay.
And I think that, over the last 10 months with so many people isolated and finding other ways to connect without intercourse. I was reading an article in the New York Times about a woman after she, picked her date, after she, screened him, etc. They went for a ride, and she wore, panties that could be controlled by, a remote control from his phone, right?
Oh.
And then another time they'd go for a ride and he'd masturbate. So, it was more than just intercourse. A lot of times people are making their connections without even being together in person or with themselves. So I think people are learning to express their sexuality in a lot of different ways right now. And I think that we're all beginning to, embrace the importance of pleasure in our lives.
And what is something that you want people to know about sexuality with the disabled and the possibilities that are there?
Well, I certainly wouldn't want a potential partner to rule me out or anyone with a disability because they have a disability.
Mm-hmm.
So we should know that people with disabilities have the same sexual feelings and responses and needs, and they're able to, provide support and comfort and companionship and humor, and as well as anyone else. So, I would like people to look beyond whatever physical changes or differences there are into the characteristics of the person and what they have to offer.
Wonderful. And Dr. Tepper, is there somewhere that people can look for you online?
Yeah, they certainly come to my website, drmitchelltepper.com. So it's drmitchelltepper.com. And contact me.
Are there dating resources specifically for the disabled, like a message for disabled, or?
There are some, but very limited.
Okay.
Over the years, they've never managed to expand, so I've taken folks who I've been coaching and helped them set up sites, especially when I'm working with people who actually have some cognitive disabilities or a lower level of function. And I'm taking to a site where they'll find more people with disabilities who are more open to the experience. But what I found is, like, I'm in Georgia and I searched Georgia for this person, for someone in his range, and there's only a handful of people. So the problem with that, like segregating sites for people with disabilities, it's a very small pool. I much strongly advocate, people using general websites and being upfront about their disability. And I basically tell people that, a lot of people are going to swipe by you because of your disability, but be more upfront about it, because instead of getting into a relationship where I think you're really cool, I like you, and then you discover that I have a disability and you drop me or you ghost me, right? Instead of going through that, I encourage people to be direct, upfront, honest about their situation. Not overly, I don't have to tell you every aspect about my life,
Right.
But you know, this is pretty significant as far as me. I'm in a wheelchair. You don't see that now, right? So unless I revealed that to you, right, you might be very shocked when you see me. So I encourage people to be direct, to include the fact, something about their disability, if it's remarkable, but not to be overly focused on that.
Right.
You might bring something to the table, some baggage that I just don't see, you know, but if I were able to see it, I might rule you out, right?
Right.
So just because of some judgment I have. So let's be upfront, not to be afraid to go out into regular dating sites, and not be afraid, you know, to incorporate someplace that you have a disability, if that you think is important for someone to know, and take it from there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, Dr. Mitchell Tepper, it's been so wonderful talking with you tonight. And you have such amazing information. And Dr. Mitchell can be found at drmitchell Tepper, TEPPER.com. Dr. Mitchell, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So that was Dr. Mitchell Tepper, and you can find him, as I mentioned, at drmitchell Tepper, TEPPER.com. And you can find me at DrTranquility.co, DrTranquility.com, or SatoriXPR.com, the Buddhist word Satori, for once you know, you know. And enjoy. Hi, guys. Just saying goodbye to Dr. Mitchell. It was wonderful to have him on. And we're going to be bringing up Camille Hayes. And she's going to tell us all about, well, she asks great questions about dating and relationships that I know a lot of you want to know about. So when we come back from this musical break, she will be with us. Hang tight. Wonderful. And we are back. And we're going to have Camille Hayes with us right now. She's coming to the couch, the Dr. Tranquility couch. And she's going to ask the questions that she needs to ask. So, hey, Camille.
Hello, how are you?
Well, how are you?
I'm well. Just facing a transition, going into 2021, super fresh-minded, but coming with a little bit of baggage from 2020. I had transitioned careers and switched from fashion designing to publicity, and was wondering those moments where you're feeling such unsettledness and you're wondering and questioning things, but you're also ready to date. How do you stay calm in those periods?
Well, when you're going through a lot of transition, it's important to focus on one thing at a time.
Yeah.
So when you're with your partner, you're with your partner. There's
Right.
chaos around you. But with him, you try to keep that energy direct and where it is. You don't try to succeed in keeping that energy. It's a lot of energy work when we're disheveled.
I see. And sometimes it's hard for me to focus on one thing at a time, especially being in PR. You're so used to multitasking every minute of the day. It's just important to remain like calm, cool, and collected, and stay focused at that one thing that you're there to do.
Yeah.
Which is to date, in my opinion.
Dating is so important.
It is.
It's nice to have that human connection and the endorphins.
Yeah. And so like that brings me to my second question. So I'm going through this period where I'm starting to date a couple of men, and I am wondering when is the appropriate time to like reveal myself.
Meaning,
Uh, so there's certain details that I feel like are personal to your life more than just people that you meet on the side of the street.
okay.
When do you let go and start becoming a little bit more vulnerable and
Well, I
question
think
them?
you'll know intuitively. It's not the first or second date, guys.
Yeah.
It's not the first or second date at all. Okay, maybe date 4, depending on what you did on date 3.
And how deep that conversation is too.
Yeah.
But sometimes
You can touch on it. You
yeah,
don't have to go deep.
like I'll have a date where it's New York, so we'll do a couple different events in one night. We'll go to a couple different places to meet up with people, and then I feel like I've really gotten to know them. They're asking more intimate questions about me, like when's your last relationship, or more questions that are assertive and aware of like my life. When when is it okay to open up about details of my life that I wouldn't normally do?
Okay.
Like what kind of positive flags
Well,
are
go
they
with
radiating?
your intuition, and
Uh-huh.
also go with the type of communication you've been having. Because some people communicate and get very close very quickly, and others take forever. And respect that, whichever category you're falling into, respect yourself enough to give yourself the time and space
Yeah,
so that you know you can trust this person.
exactly.
Trust is a big part of communication.
Right. And sometimes I have an issue just being too trusting towards people based off a third or fourth encounter. It's hard to dictate.
Yeah.
And then basically, so since I'm starting to date all over again, what this is so funny. Every time I'm dating in New York City, everybody is really into astrology right now. How much do you take into factor your sun sign when dating?
Well, I'm not going to kick someone out of the car for, not
Yeah.
knowing my sun sign. I think it's a fun way and an important way to look at relationships, but there are so many things, dynamics within the original sun sign, like looking
Exactly.
at the moon sign, looking at the rising sign, and
When I did my full natal chart, I realized there's so many different dimensions and
Mhm.
factors, and Um, so it's hard for me to even take someone seriously if they're like a Cancer to me. And I've gotten along with Cancers, but typically a Libra wouldn't be romantically compatible with a Cancer. But
Right.
I guess that's another thing with age is that you evolve as a
Mhm.
person and you're starting to transform yourself based on where you want to be, not necessarily like where your sun sign is.
Right. And cancers are wonderful. Tauruses get along with
Yeah.
Taurus, and we get along with cancers.
Yeah, I'm a Libra, so we're a little bit more of an air sign, and I think water signs are a little bit tricky for them. They either work or they don't, but it's interesting
So you
nonetheless.
have a new Libra.
Exactly.
Do
Well,
tell.
so I have a couple of.
I mean, a new Cancer.
I had a Libra, and then now I'm dating a couple of different signs, and I'm trying to differentiate what's going to be the best for me. I've had really positive things with an air sign on an air sign. Because if you look at who I'm dating, it's more Aquarius and Gemini, leading towards any other sign. But that's where I ask you the question: how much do you really take into factor the sun sign? Because I've dated some Cancers and they've been remarkable, but they've also been really old, like not really old, but 40 years old and mature and
Have their stuff together.
definitely evolved from just being a Cancer, if that
Right.
makes sense. Sometimes I feel like people take too much into factor their sun sign.
Yes, they do.
Yeah. A lot of other
Great.
things.
Well, thank you for
Yeah.
stopping by.
I know. It was so lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck on the
So
rest of the show.
we will have a great time.
Yes.
Thank
Nice
you,
to see
Camille.
everybody.
Bye. I feel like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. So anyway, so what are your questions about dating and relationships? You can always reach out to me at drtranquility@gmail.com. And we look forward to hearing your questions and your answers and all of your important stuff. And we'll be right back. Hi, I am Dr.Tranquility for Lifted Infused, that is at LFTD Infused Tea, found on Facebook and Instagram. Lifted Infused Teas are amazing. They are created with premium alcohol and cannabis, so you don't get that groggy, hungover feeling the next day. You know what I'm talking about. They come in an array of exotic flavors, six with premium alcohol and six alcohol-free. Among my favorites are the mango peach, and one that was created with me in mind, Tranquility. That is at LFTD Infused Tea on Facebook and Instagram. I've got my Tranquility. Have you got yours? Okay. So today we're going to do a little something different. We're going to do a Q&A. And I have some people who've written in. You can also text me your questions at 212-920-1603. And you may reach out. We won't answer the phone line, but we will respond to your text if we can get to it. And I have Jamie, who's listening in over YouTube, and she wants to know, how do you know when the guy is the right person for you? Well, that's a really good question, Jamie. And what we do know is compatibility plays a major role in that, and chemistry plays a major role in that. So if you feel safe with this person, and safety is an important factor, especially these days, and you're feeling safe with them, your communication is good, then they're the right guy for you. And it's just a matter of picking your moment to start officially kicking off your dating process. And that'll be great. Next, I've got John. And John is coming to me from California. Okay, John. Hey, California. John wants to know, oh, John, very good question. How do you know when she's simply dating you for yourself and not for your money? Well, that goes back to communication is key and what is her behavior like? Remember, communication is more than speaking. Communication is also body language and can be found in what they don't say as much as what they say. So if you're asking me this question, I have a feeling you probably know the answer already, if I'm not mistaken. And Tim in Florida. Hi, Tim. Yes, so his question has to do with being on disability. He was a police officer and was injured and is now on disability. What he finds it hard to date women, and I understand he finds it hard to date women, and he wants to know how he can go about being a better dating partner. Well, Tim, I think what's important to do is to trust in yourself. It sounds like you need to do a little bit of self-esteem work with me, Dr. Tranquility, and we can get to the root of that in 1 to 3 sessions. I also have pre-recorded sessions that I are for the general public, and they're able to utilize them and instantly work with me. We work on Zoom for distance, and we have some great results. So I'm looking forward to um, your your questions, and I'm so grateful that you wrote in. One more, we can take another one. Mary wants to know, I met this great guy in a bar, but my girlfriend says that meeting guys in bars never works out well. What should I do? Well, meeting women in bars, meeting people in bars, it can work out wonderfully. I dated someone for 2.5 years that I met in a bar. So years ago. So, it can work out for you. Keep your boundaries up. And remember that when you met, you were drinking. So drinking reduces a lot of inhibitions. So if you're having a daytime date early enough, don't expect those inhibitions to be reduced the way they were when you were at the bar. Okay. Another thing you may want to do is go for brunch. Since that's how you met, then you can at least put some food in there to absorb it and get to know each other a little bit better. Take a long brunch, 2 or 3 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. And I think you're going to find that it's wonderful, wonderful to experience. And Nancy. Nancy wants to know, oh, good question. With COVID, how do you go about a normal dating process? Well, you've got a couple of things here, and I don't know exactly. She didn't put in where she's coming in from. Nancy, your dating process during COVID is interesting, and it forces us to be a bit more creative. But one thing that we know is that dating during COVID, wearing masks, keeping socially distant, but you can really distance yourself a bit more than the 6 feet, and then if you're not indoors, lower your mask a bit just quickly so you can see each other's face. I would say 10 feet out or 12 feet. You just want to be, but you can wave. And that's how you can see each other and know that you're dating the person that you've actually seen on the screen on Match.com or somewhere else. As you guys may know, I did an event with Match.com. It was very successful and we were very happy with it. So I highly recommend them. But I think that really is the best advice. You have to trust your instincts. You have to be creative. You have to watch the body language and look at what they are saying and what they're not saying. Listen, looking at the body language really closely and being very attentive, as that's a truth teller. That's the biggest truth serum you can have is body language. And I'm going to take a beat here and we will be right back. So I'm sitting here waiting because I have someone who's coming in with a question right now, and she's typing. So we're going to give her a chance, all right, to get on. Her name is Jillian. And Jillian is asking, okay, Jillian is asking, what does it take to find a real man in today's world? Really, that's a funny question. I think Camille could have probably answered it. Camille Hayes. She's asking some of the same questions. It takes patience. It takes compassion, and it takes love, self-love especially. And we'll be right back.
Yeah. Heard they wanna stop the party. Tell her we gon' party. Few shots got off.
Oops, little technical problem. This is Lord Bread, by the way. And you'll find him at Lord Bread on Instagram.
Yeah. Heard they wanna stop the party. Well, tell her we gon' party. Few shots got her horny. The way that she move got me on it. They ain't stopping no party. She rockin' that body. They ain't stopping no party. Shot, we gon' double shot it. Couldn't wait to get next to you. And I can't let this moment lose. They ain't crashing no party, not before we get naughty. We can dance all night, yeah. Make love through the morning. Hennessy, ignite the memories. Know you feeling me, I can feel your energy. Had to pull up to this empty seat. Introduce the lingo, the slicey shit I speak. I know you ain't come alone. I'm like, girl, are you kidding me? Said her friend mess with the bro, but she admit that she feeling me. Not your ordinary type, I'm a different breed. Cut from a cloth, they could no longer weave. My slice different, she say how I do it differently. Slice mixing, they be hating on our chemistry. Ain't looking for no wifey, but we can keep it slicey. We're free. Daughter, me about to slice it. Dress so vibrant, lashes on her eyelids. Little eyeliner, couldn't look finer. Something to admire, she sparked the fire.
So we love Bread. He has the best sound. Lord Bread, you'll find him on Instagram and Facebook and iHeartRadio and all kinds of podcasts and different situations. And coming up, we're going to have Dr. Brian Rapzenski, who's going to be chatting with us about Love Bites, our new segment. So stay tuned. Hi, this is DrTranquility, coming at you with some great information about my friend, Dr. Hal Blattman. Blattman is a fascinating and successful healer. Ways and integrates alternative healing methodologies as well. He specializes in myofascial injury. And so he works with people who have carpal tunnel and migraine, low back pain, you might say more. And he's had tremendous success with pelvic pain and alleviating it. High success rate. He is based in Cincinnati, Ohio, with satellite offices in New York, and he sees patients in Seattle, Washington, about 3 times a year. So, I want to tell you all about his background. He has a background in environmental medicine, in emergency room medicine, so he's very well-rounded. And I know that he's the one you want to get in touch with. I do, whenever you're in pain. Again, his success rate is tremendously high. Take my word for it. And he was the past president of the American Holistic Medical Association. How do you like them apples? So if you are in pain or someone you love and you want to get out of it, reach out to Hal Blattman MD. That's Blattman, BLATMAN, health and wellness.com. You'll find all sorts. It's a full resource on the Skype. He also does telemedicine. And you'll be able to sign up for Zoom talks. These are really informative talks where he breaks down where your pain is coming from. Because as Dr. Hal always says, pain isn't coming from where you think it is. So why not find out where it is, get rid of it, and be well with Blattman Health and Wellness Center. And Dr. Hal has a workshop coming up on February 6th, and you should definitely check out blattmanhealthandwellness.com, and we will be back.
I'm excited to announce the first application of its kind. We've launched Money for Likes on iOS and Google Play. This app will allow all content creators, artists, videographers, and digital artists, just to name a few, to post their content and receive likes. We call money likes. Likes that are monetized. That's right, content creators will receive money transferable to their bank account, PayPal, and Venmo. Download the app, make a $10 in-app purchase. You'll receive 1,000 money likes to give your favorite content creator and post your content and receive likes that matter. Download the app today on iOS or Google Play.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Yarnell, board-certified traditional masterclass, and in today's 60-second health hack, let's talk about so-called. There's a huge loophole in our labor laws that allows companies to group together a bunch of secret chemicals and call them, quote, natural flavors. Food and drink companies like to use these chemicals because they have a long shelf life and produce a standard taste across the product. They don't have to disclose what these flavors are actually made from, but you can bet they are not created from real foods or plants. You may have thought you were making a healthy choice by drinking something containing natural flavors, but these chemicals may in fact be contributing to your own health issues. When I have natural flavors, my eyelids begin to peel. That's a bit extreme, but if you've been struggling to get healthier, avoiding chemicals like these in natural flavors may help. Your best bet is to always choose products that contain real ingredients and not natural flavors or other chemicals. Yours always in health, Dr. Elizabeth Yarnell.
And Elizabeth is one of our friends here at the show. Today we're kind of doing a medical show. It's not hot and trendy and poppy. It's just a medical show. More often than not, we're talking about people with disabilities. We've been taking Q&A time here with we had Dr. Mitchell Tepper on. We've had Dr. Brian coming up for Love Bites, and we're really excited to get him on the air. And he'll be here in just a couple of minutes, literally. And it's been a nice, slow-paced show tonight, and we're excited about that. So if you guys have any more questions for me, feel free to write in while we're waiting for Dr. Brian, because we can always ask him as well. And I'll be right back. And it is time for Love Bites with Dr. Brian. And we're just so excited to have him on. He's so great, and he's so informative, and we can't wait to hear what he's going to talk about today for his segment. Hello, Dr. Brian. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
Great. So what you got for us today?
Well, again, welcome to Love Bites. little snippets of information and tips for helping to maximize your dating, relationship, and sex success. So last time we had done a little bit on dating success secrets for gay men, and today's going to be part 2 of that segment as well. Last time we had talked a little bit about just some qualities and characteristics that help us. And again, a lot of these qualities can also be applicable to, most sexual orientations. But we talked a little bit last time about social etiquette and communication, about the importance of a courtship process, and then also kind of sexy as an attitude and kind of expanding the range of what's defined as attractive beyond just physical appearance. So today I wanted to talk about a few more little tidbits. One other characteristics that is really helpful for gay dating success, and gay men in particular, is being out and proud. Coming out is a very personal journey. For some people, it's not safe to do so, but if you're in a position where you can work on, just having greater acceptance and pride with being gay, then it really increases the chances of you being able to live a life with more authenticity. It helps with just being more free to be yourself, spontaneous. It's a lot less complicated, and you can just be a lot more flexible in expressing your true self. It also kind of combats the shame that's associated with leading a double life. So oftentimes, people of the same degree of outness tend to do better together. So 2 men who are out will usually fare better than somebody who's in the closet and somebody who is out, because typically when that kind of a style coexists together, the person who is out sometimes feels like they're getting pulled back into the closet in a sense, and they can't live as freely. And the person who's still in the closet oftentimes feels a lot of anxiety about being pushed further out of their comfort zone than they're really ready to. So, we always try to advocate for that. But, if you can, it's a really good idea to just work on addressing any internalized homophobia, which is, the kind of taking in of society, mainstream society's self-loathing and hatred of homosexuality, which a lot of gay men, although it's getting better, tend to take in, and then it affects their self-esteem in a major way. So that's one, out and proud.
Definitely.
Another tip that I have is the importance of gay men working through any toxic masculinity. Got to break free from that. And what I mean by that is just kind of working through a lot of the male socialization barriers that can get in the way of having a healthy relationship. So, for example, men in our Western culture are typically socialized to, do things like don't cry, don't express your feelings, don't show any weakness. And oftentimes, gay men in a relationship will have a lot of competitiveness, kind of jockeying for power and control because of that. And they can also have a difficult time with communication and expressing their feelings. So I think it's important that, to have a healthy relationship, not only do you have to work through internalized homophobia, but you also have to just, be comfortable in your own skin as a man, define what kind of a man that you do want to be. And there's a really good quote by Joe Court that I really like that says, "Would the little boy that you once were look up to the man that you've now become?" And so if there's any gap in between, that's where you really want to work on, just building your character and integrity.
That sounds wonderful.
I love that.
And tell everyone where they can meet you, find you.
I can be found at personalvictorycounseling.com or at thegaylovecoach.com.
I love that, thegaylovecoach.com. Well, Dr.
Thank you.
Brian, it was really wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you so
And
much. Thanks again for having me.
thank you. You are amazing as always.
Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
So that was Dr. Brian Rapzenski. I'm working on it. He's one of our regular segments, just like Camille Hayes and her 212 love information and Q&A. And we look forward to having you. Feel free to send me your questions at DrTranquility.com. I am on Instagram at DrTranquility Lydia or at Date Therapy. And I thank you for joining us tonight. Go out and make it the best night ever. Have fun, relax, let your hair down, enjoy people. And I think you're going to be happy if you do that. And don't let COVID get you down. It's got everyone blocked in the house. You're not the only one. And everyone is feeling the way you do. And sometimes as humans, it helps us to feel better about ourselves if we're feeling that we're not alone in whatever we're going through, that there are other people experiencing what we're experiencing, and there certainly are. So enjoy your life, enjoy your day, and enjoy your week. We'll see you next week at 5.
Yeah. Heard they wanna stop the party. Well, tell her we gon' party. Few shots got her horny. The way that she move got me on it. They ain't stopping no party. She rockin' that body. They ain't stopping no party. Shot, we gon' double shot it. Couldn't wait to get next to you. And I can't let this moment lose. They ain't crashing no party. Not before we get naughty. We could dance all night, yeah. Make love through the morning. See, make a night of memories. Know you feeling me. I can feel your energy. Had to pull up to this empty. Introduce the lingo. The slicey shit. I know you ain't come alone. I'm like, girl, are you kidding me? Set up for mess with the bro. Get me, that she feeling me. Not your ordinary type, I'm a different breed. Cut from a club, they could no longer weed. My slice